Oh, hello. Welcome back. Now, I'm sure you could all use a little reminder of a few things every now and again. After all, nostalgia does tend to blind us. Oh, the past. That sweet, succulent wee bit of time we all like to remember in dread. It must have been, late August, maybe? The Summerfest tournaments had just concluded, and they only run through the summer. I had emerged less than victorious. Second place, again. But I can't say I wasn't satisfied. Taking a loss hasn't... Well, it's always been a bit hard for me. But it was at least a fair brawl, and one of... no, the best up to that point in my life. He stood to my left that afternoon, the champion once more. We decided, in celebration of the victory, but mostly for old time's sake, to walk to the olive grove on the other side of the canyon and camp out there for the night. The grove was about on the horizon of the city's vantage point, but it was a light walk for both of us. It was when we started, and it was now. Though calling it anything special would be a bit of false advertising. 'Twas just a cluster of, I think, Russian olives set apart from the urban puzzle we like to call a city. Between it and the city was a field of rolling hills that covered up the grand-ass crack of the canyon and the Trentane Creek that swept across the bottom. There used to be a bridge there, but it had been broken a few years ago by a few of my definitely not emotionally tied for fear of connection acquaintances. By accident, of course, but we didn't care. Still don't, honestly. Jumping the ravine only made the walk more fun for all the boys my age and younger, for those of us that survived it. Among the olive trees were a few of the firefly lights and ornament ribbons left over from Summerfest. The biggest one was, as you would usually expect, the most decorated, and the one that had greeted us first as we approached from the city. This one had a long swing chained to one of its lowest branches, which was still several yards off the ground. The champion sat on it with yet another I need more sleep face as I uncovered the fire pit. Despite his blood type being lackadaisical and a mixture of alcohol, I knew he was proud of the win. No need for a tent. The grass would do just fine for either of us to sleep, if we bothered that night. I don't remember. We were so busy dangling from the trees and running into each other into the dirt that by the time we'd bothered to sit down to watch the city lights against the drowning sunset, I'd almost forgotten all about that little tournament. He was cooking a couple of the little vermin we caught from the trees, and I was just sitting by as we both spat jokes and math at each other. I was just about to pester him again, but he pointed to the moon before I could say anything. The lion, the witch, and the audacity of this bitch! But with a laugh and a bird flipped, I swiveled my head over to face the moonrise. It was then that he told me, in an exchange of roasted squirrel and quail skewers, that he wanted to die on the moon. A yearn I wish I could have fulfilled. I scoffed and told him he'd have to kick me to it and then himself there first. He laughed and slapped my glasses off. I snatched them back on and threw a punch. May or may not have missed. He swung a kick at me. He may or may not have landed it. We were both standing now, almost sneering at each other. I attempted to tackle him again, but was distracted by a long creaking sound, like heavy metal scraping against stone. It came from the trees. We both turned to stare into the myriad of firefly lights with serial killer neck turns. The noise irked me a little. Always the interruptions. What in the hell was that? We're busy, I said, cocking a brow as I looked towards the sound. He shrugged, his face no less unbothered than usual. Being young men with the survival instinct of "not today," we headed into the grove towards the sound. We didn't have far to go before we reached the other side. Between two trees stood a giant arch on a platform, almost as though it was some form of ritual device or boss fight summoner. It was about 10, 20 feet. It was taller than both of us combined, and only a little narrower than it was tall. The top of the arch had some odd spirals melting into the scales as they descended down the arch. It gave off no light, but the whole area seemed to be choked in some pale glow. Could have sworn I heard one of us let out a row. This wasn't here before, was it? I hummed, half sarcastic. Looks like a gateway. I'm a boop it. I walked up to it to touch its base, one finger at a time. I couldn't tell if it was stone or metal, which was a first. Noticing the time and having errands to run tomorrow, we figured we'd explore it again the next morning. I don't remember much after that. The next event in my memory was a day later, and it's not complete. It comes in pieces. I always see fire, smoke, and buildings falling. The sound of destruction and the screams. I was cold. He was slumped against the wall before me. A shattered halo, chains, shards and wings, and so much blood. Get going, he managed, with pain I could hardly stand to hear. It's not your fault. I don't know what happened. The gate was open, as promised. Part of me knew it was too late for him anyway. So, as usual, I ran.